And we're live. Welcome to the Lakers Outsiders podcast. I am Anthony Irwin. I am here with my crew, Harrison and Ryan. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Better before you called us your crew.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a top 5 moment on Twitter for me when I was told I have a crew. We are here. We're enjoying the off season. Ryan especially is enjoying the off season. He is in Palm Beach, Florida. Ryan, I imagine it's too dark to see the beach. Like if you were to open up your blinds, it's too dark to see.
Yeah. You won't be able to see anything, but like, not lying, it's right behind me.
Yeah, that's not a bad lifestyle. That's you're enjoying your off season more than some of the Lakers apparently. They're already back in the gym.
Yeah. See, I don't work hard during the summer. I'm not like one of those players that gotta be in the gym. I'm like Nick Young, basically.
He's in Hawaii. Actually,
Yeah, I
Nick,
saw a line of him balling somebody up in a ski mask for some reason. So
he tweeted out tonight.
He's working out.
He tweeted out tonight that he's going to be out in downtown LA. So whoever's out there in that area, that'd be kind of fun to go party with Swaggy. Harrison, how you had an interesting little riff with some spider poison. Do you want to explain what went on there? What was climbing on walls like?
I didn't get any superpowers. I just was not told that a room in our house was being fumigated, I guess, and I went back there and hung out and played video games for about 30 minutes before I was told, and hasn't been a fun week for me. I'll leave it at that.
And he's been living in that video game since. He's been just high as a kite, just living in the video game.
Unfortunately, there were no positive effects to the spider poison. It's not a high. I don't recommend it. Kids, don't do drugs.
That's not what he said in our private DM, folks. So we're gonna quickly go over. There was some hard to call it news, but there was a report today about Karl Anthony Towns saying that he's not going to work out. Period. He's going to interview with Minnesota and Los Angeles, but he's not necessarily going to hold a private interview. I found that kind of interesting. Ryan, what was your takeaway from that?
Honestly, it's not that surprising because he's going to go one or two. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a lock right now, and he doesn't really have anything to gain by working out. And it's like if he somehow tore his ACL or Achilles or any stupid freak injury, in that case he could fall. But it's other than that, like just if he doesn't work out for a team, they're not going to drop him from their draft board. So.
Harrison, do you think that's what he's hoping for in the long term? Like, do you think that's his way of kind of forcing his way to LA? That hey, yeah, I'm not going to work out for you, Minnesota. Either you take me without.
I mean, that might factor into it because, if you're, 19, 20, he's 19, right? If you're 19 years old and you're having to figure out where you're going to want to, realistically probably spend the next 7 years of your life, and your choices are Minneapolis or LA, I'd want to go to LA too, and not just because I'm a fan of the Lakers. So I think maybe there's an element of that to it, but at the same time, what's he going to show them in a workout? Either they're going to pick him number one or they're not, and I don't know that a workout is necessarily going to change their thing. What can he do in a workout at this point that's going to change their thinking when his stock's this high? I think he can only potentially lower it, in which case he'd just drop to the Lakers at 2 anyway. So yeah, I just don't see really any point for him in working out.
But didn't the report said he didn't also say he wasn't going to work out for the Lakers too, or just Minnesota? Because I thought I read that it was
neither. He's not.
I think it was. I don't think he's working out for anybody.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to. There's nothing to gain.
Yeah, there's nothing gained. There's only potential losses, and if it ends up helping him to get to LA, then great. But I think he's probably fine going number one too.
And it's I haven't read anything about Okafor, but it's he's probably going to do the same thing.
He's working out in LA though. He's not working out for the Lakers. But
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure Towns is doing this. I'm sure he's playing basketball or working out, just not for teams.
Right. Well, that's kind of the way I read it. Is that yeah, he's not going to work out for anybody specifically, and yeah, like if he like when Kobe back in the day, back when he was drafted, he didn't work out for anybody, any of the small market teams. He just said no, I'm not going to. But he worked out for the Lakers and forced his way to the Lakers, and with Towns right now, he's not going to go that far where he says I'll work out for the Lakers and I'll show you everything that I got, because he knows if he falls to the Lakers, they're going to take him.
Yeah.
There's nothing to gain by that, just like Harrison said. I
The
would say it would actually kind of hurt him if he worked out for Minnesota and he didn't want to be in Minnesota, and he worked out for him, he blew him away accidentally. Like the alternative is to work out for Minnesota and intentionally suck and hope that they drop him anyway.
tank the workout.
Yeah,
I don't think that he would do that though, because like potentially like that could get leaked that he was doing that, and it would look bad for him. Like if like Flip Saunders went to Woj and just was like, "Hey, I'll give you a bunch of scoops if you just ether Karl Towns for like his poor effort in this workout." But I think it could only. I don't think that he's willing to go that far.
That wouldn't stop anybody from drafting him, though. Like that wouldn't. If he fell to the Lakers, there's no way that stops them from drafting him.
Well, see, like you
No,
mentioned.
I know. I think like from a marketing standpoint and stuff, if that kind of thing gets out, like that might turn a lot of people off to him.
Well, like Anthony, you mentioned the Kobe thing. Like he threatened to play overseas because he was like could play in Italy or whatever. It's like that Towns isn't gonna like he doesn't probably have that option, or that he's not. That's not something he would do. I don't think Kobe would have done that either. But at least, like it was actually like a pretty like it was actually like a legitimate threat.
Right. And I don't know. I wrote this. I forget when I wrote it, and I'm not gonna. Well, I guess it will be a shameless plug, but I wrote it for Lake Show Life. That like you're seeing these guys say and do kind of funky things, angling themselves to Los Angeles, right? And it's at that point where like. When do you hear a top prospect say, you know what, it doesn't matter to me to go number 1 overall? And that's what Okafor said, right? And he's already filming these commercials to, he's already doing the LA thing, filming his own commercial where he talks about the path to get to where he is. And now you hear this about Towns. And this is kind of the point. I mean, I got kind of creamed. People called me an elitist and the typical LA writer. But this is what goes on when you have the Lakers picking second behind a crap organization like Minnesota. There's a reason the Lakers came from Minnesota in the first place. Minnesota's a shit city.
They're going to get some unhappy Minnesotians or whatever they're called. They're going to have them fill the comments now. Yeah. Thanks.
Sorry, Zach Harper, but your city isn't very good.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if the Lakers got the number 1 pick, like would Towns and Okafor be working out? Like, would they be in LA as quick as they could to work out to try to blow them away?
Oh yeah, they would. You could bet you could bet everything on it.
They're like, we'll work out against each other.
1-on-1. Yeah. Winner gets to get picked by the Lakers.
Exactly. And again, people, non-Laker fans watching this or listening to this right now are going to roll their eyes at here's a bunch of spoiled Laker fans talking about how great their franchise is, but that's what's happening right now. You can't ignore the weird things that are going on between these top prospects.
I think it's only going to get weirder.
Yeah.
Like leading into the draft, like we're gonna get like leaked pictures of like Jahlil Okafor in a Lakers jersey as a kid, and like.
Yeah. No, that'd be great.
Like Karl Towns is gonna end up on TMZ and like accidentally say he wants to go to LA.
It won't be an accident.
Yeah, like accidentally.
Like there's my fake tweet. It's like at the Timberwolves. I was like, "Wow, do you hear that? Towns would rather live in North Korea than Minnesota." And someone asked, like, "Do you have the link for that?"
No, we're gonna find both parties because they both have LA in their name. So who's the first one to be like, hey, you can't spell my name without LA, right? And you're gonna see a bunch of weird stories like that. So
yeah, weird stuff. It's gonna get really weird.
It's gonna be fun. That's what it's gonna
Yeah, it's
be.
gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
All
Yeah.
right, and since we're on the draft, and we have Lakers do have two other picks. I had wrote an article yesterday for the website. If you want me to, I'll tweet out the link after this. It was like basically what they could do with the 27th and 34th picks. Because honestly, like those picks they're interesting because a lot of people think that the talent level really falls off like around 23, 24. So I mean, basically the five options I laid out. It's like they could use both the picks, like maybe package them together to move up. The two prospects I like are Justin Anderson and Rondé Hollis Jefferson. Biased, but yeah. Um, and then either that or you can use one of the picks to move Nick Young's contract because I mean it's $5 million for a guy that's pretty annoying. And although like I wrote in the article like for like if he returns to his 2013 2014 form, he's worth his contract. I mean he shot 39% from three. So I'm not. I mean, that's an option, but I'm not really a fan of that.
But
Then,
but do you think under Byron, he can return to that form, Ryan?
I mean, it's tough because he doesn't get. He's not just as like a floor. Like for D'Antoni, he used him to space the floor, and then late in the shot clock because there's Kobe wasn't there. We didn't have a guy like Clarkson. Then he was asked to create. This year, it's like they gave him the ball early in the shot clock and post ups, like coming around curls for like fadeaway jump, like mid-range jumpers and stuff. Like he didn't get anything towards the rim. He didn't transition. He didn't get many looks. So yeah, that's obviously like an issue that maybe he won't be as good under Byron. But most like Byron's system just isn't good, and it's like a lot of the players we get, like Justin Anderson, for example, is one of my favorite players in the draft because he's a 3-and-D guy. I mean, they might not use him right, so it might not be worth trading up for. But to me, I mean, I don't see Byron being around after this year, so that's not a huge issue for me. But back to the options. The fourth option was like they could draft and stash like a European player, which I mean, like Mirotic is like the latest example of someone that like went through that, but I don't know. To me, like we're with like the youth movement right now with Clarkson and Randall, number 2 pick. So it's like I just want like the youngest and like
All the young guys.
yeah, just all these prospects on the court. 'Cause it's like even if you suck, it's like at least there's like something to look forward to. And then I get the last option was to trade for like a future pick, like trade this 27th pick to like the Raptors or something for their pick next year, with the hopes of like maybe they're not as good, so it'll move up to like. So next year, instead of having like the 27th pick this year, you get maybe like the 20th or 21st pick.
Right, and that's something that's interesting too, right? Because the Lakers, at this point, the odds are they're going to lose their own first pick next year.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and the thing is, like when you trade back to another year, like if you trade this year's pick for next year's pick, you lose that year of development for the player, and that's like, and I wrote in the article like the third year is like when players usually start becoming like impact players. Well, unless they're like a top lottery pick, but like the lower round pick guys, like that's when they become impact players or useful players, and it's like by trading the pick back, you just push that year back. So instead of having the person be in their third year in 2017, then now they're going to be in their third year in 2018. So that's why I'm not a big fan of that option either. To me, I would try to trade the picks up or trade the picks to move up, or just use both of them.
Well, the nice thing though about because the issue with the direction the Lakers are kind of taking right now is that everybody's kind of going to hit their payday at roughly the same time, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't. Clarkson's will be after this season, after this upcoming year. Randall's is like 3 or 4 years away, and then the number 2 picks will be a year after that. So yeah, I mean, luckily it'll actually be staggered in a way. Well, like in between, they'll still have some cap space probably. Well, I mean, it's hard to say because 2016 they could sign 2 or 3 max free agents, but it's not like one summer they're gonna have to extend all of them.
Harrison, what of the options that Ryan laid out, which would you say is the most preferable?
I mean, I definitely don't want to use one of the picks to move Nick Young's contract because, like, I mean, I think we'll get into more of this later when we talk about like our like starters for next year or our ideal rotation for next year. But
Spoiler
I
alert.
think that Nick Young can bounce back. I don't think that he's going to get back to his form under D'Antoni, but I think he could be better under Byron than he was this year. So I don't want to do that, but I think my best case scenario, I'd probably just take both of them, honestly. I mean, you just like this organization has shown that it can find talent later in the draft, like at a pretty decent rate. So why not just take two shots at it rather than one? Because it's unlikely that any later pick pans out to be anything meaningful. So why not give yourself two chances? It's not like it's a given that both of these guys are going to hit. And so you're going to have a problem of too many young players down the line or whatever. Like one of them might suck. So, and then
Well,
you just kind of cut your losses and move on.
well, you could argue that, if you could move up, let's say to 22 or 20, and then buy another second round pick. So then again, you'd still have two shots at it. And they did that with
Yeah.
Clarkson. It worked. But you could also buy another second round pick and have three extra lower round picks instead of two. So.
I actually, of the options, I prefer the moving up route. Especially because I really like that Justin Anderson kid. He's like the anchor of their defense out there at Virginia, and they were one of the best defenses in the entire country. And he also has shown that he can shoot the ball pretty well. And those 3-and-D guys, look across the league, all the successful teams have that player. Whether it's Harrison Barnes has been up and down, but he won Golden State their last game against Houston.
Yeah.
He came out of nowhere and won that game. I was throwing falcon punches the entire game. And then you have J.R. Smith. The reason he's been able to make extend his career beyond all of his nonsensical all the crap he pulls off the court, because he can shoot the ball, he's been able to, hey, I'm found LeBron, and here I am. I find all these open shots. If you can get a guy that can play defense and not be a jackass like J.R. Smith, that's somebody you can continue to build around. And the Lakers are extremely weak at the wing.
Yeah.
I was laughing coming in here because Oreo dropped a deuce, and I was laughing. I was like, yeah, Oreo dropped my cat dropped a Wesley Johnson. That's the guy who's been starting the last 2 years for the Lakers at the 3. So, sorry, Kevin Ding, you can go ahead and take that from me. You can borrow that from me. Ryan, what you kind of mapped out all of your options. Where of all of your options, which way would you like to go?
To trade up, because like I said, you could always buy another second round pick. Because that's one. The Lakers being a big market franchise easily have enough money to pay I think the most you can pay is $3.5 million or something, but they can easily do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's easy. I mean, but then again, you could also say, well, if you don't trade up, you have 3 picks already, and then you could buy a 4th. But I think that now in that case, that'd be too many rookies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's just. The thing I keep on coming back to, and Harrison, you can kind of add to this, but it's just nice to be a Laker fan with the Lakers having options at this point, right? It's exciting to be a Laker fan. They have a future.
Yeah.
Well, good point. All right, so we're gonna.
very
I
thorough.
agree. I don't have much to add to that. I mean, it's great that the team seems to finally have a direction. It's amazing, how much difference, a couple, ping pong balls bouncing can make. The Lakers go from, Jim Buss is a clown fraud, worst owner in sports or whatever, to all of a sudden, they have, pretty good upside now with, their insane amount of cap space next year, and they got the number 2 pick this year. It's hard to kind of find, there aren't a lot of organizations that have, that bright of a future a couple years down the road as of right now.
And let's be honest, if they lost the pick, I'd probably be crying right now. But we'd
be in the water. We'd be having this podcast from inside the beach.
Our Coast Guard would have to rescue me. But I just can't even imagine how bad that would have been. Because you watch the draft, and you watch the Sixers get one of these good prospects, and we're sitting here, 27th pick, getting this, maybe a decent player. But I don't know. I'm not complaining. I'm thrilled. I mean, yeah, I want Towns with the #2 pick, but it's like if you told me a couple weeks ago that we would be in position to get Jaleel Okafor, I mean, even D'Angelo Russell, it's just awesome.
I was resigning myself to the fact that
I mean, we got our pick of the litter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was resigning myself to the fact that, all right, well, maybe Cauley Stein turns out to be DeAndre Jordan. Maybe Emmanuel Mudiay is great. And maybe, you know, they reach and Stanley Johnson turns into Ron Artest. But it was like, maybe all that turns out. Now you're looking at, like, hey, the Lakers got #2.
Yeah.
How did that work out?
Yeah.
Did you just predict that Stanley Johnson in like 14 years is going to get ejected for committing 5 fouls in 1 minute in an Italian exhibition game?
Hey, you know what? He could be Stanley World Peace for all I care. I actually like the comp. I kind of like it. But all right. Well, speaking of one, you know, one small forward to another. Jared Dudley made the rounds recently on ESPN and all over the damn place, you know, preaching his opinion, and made headlines here in Los Angeles talking about how stars probably don't want to play with Kobe Bryant, and it's a generalization on both sides where you're generalizing on what superstars want, you're generalizing on what it's like to play with Kobe, but all that said, I like that he was honest. You know, I hated the backlash. I wrote about it recently, and I don't know, Ryan, what was your takeaway? Actually, you know what, Harrison, we've gone to Ryan 4 times in a row.
Go to me again. I'm the #1 option.
Harrison, what was your takeaway?
I got to get my touches too, or I'm leaving.
All right, Harrison's going to threaten to kill Ryan, a la Shaq to Kobe. But Harrison, what did you take away from Dudley's comments?
I mean, I love it when athletes are honest like that. Like, even if it's something that I don't particularly agree with, or I think is just kind of like him just like regurgitating like kind of old narratives or whatever. But like, I like it when athletes kind of go against the grain and don't just be like, you know, oh, everybody's a pleasure to play with and they're all amazing and I love like everybody I've ever been on a team with ever. And I like it when they kind of get away from that. And not that he's never been on Kobe's team, but my kind of response to that has always been like, when did the Lakers have major cap space in Kobe's prime? Like, it wasn't there weren't very many instances because they made the trade for Pau Gasol. Like, there were Kobe was on like his pretty big contract. Like, Ron Artest chose to play with him, but I mean, they just haven't had like a lot of times where they've been needing to add like big free agents until recently, and then I think it has less to do with Kobe's injury than it does, or less to do with Kobe like the leader or the teammate or whatever, and more to do with his injuries.
Right, Ryan. Did you have anything to add to that? I thought the comment was pretty benign.
Well, to me, like it doesn't. I mean, if some athlete says that, I don't really care. The only time it bothers me is like if it's a guy that's like out of the league, or it's just like Smush Parker or something, who it's like he knows he's not relevant anymore and he's just trying to like stir things up for no reason. But it's like, I mean, Dudley, he can say what he wants. It's not, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It's like, I don't know. I seriously don't care about it.
But and like what bothered me was that, especially in the media, we beg for these guys to be honest, right? Or not we aren't actually in the media. We just send stuff online. But the national media, like they beg for these guys to be honest, and they have these press conferences where they bitch about Riley Curry, taking up their deadline time, and they're hoping to grab that one quote. And when they actually do grab the honest quote, they crucify the guy who actually sends it. And here you had Jared.
Well, that's why they.
Go ahead.
That's why they want the honest quote, is so that they can crucify the guy.
Yeah, it's a stupid cycle.
Sometimes there are writers that don't, but.
Yeah, well, right, and well, like that's what I'm regurgitating the tale or the article that I wrote, but he didn't say anything. Like, everybody knows Kobe is hard to play with. He walked into a practice or walked out of a practice calling his teammates soft as Charmin. We know this. He's old school. Like
a practice he knew was being filmed. Like
yeah, guys. I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say that water is wet. I hope that this is not going to be too controversial, And then he called Carmelo Anthony, who went, who is an underachiever in the NBA. He's picked terrible position after terrible position to put himself in to win, and here he is nearing that point where he's past his prime almost, and he's not going to sniff a title unless he's the second or third best player on a team. Nothing Dudley said was that terrible, and he got killed.
It's like these writers have never said anything bad about Carmelo Anthony or Kobe Bryant as a teammate.
Right, and then I don't know. I think nowadays the 2015 straw man fallacy is quoting Twitter idiots. Ryan, you have a pretty damn big following, and then Harrison, working with Silver Screen and Roll, they have a really big following, and I'm a midget compared to you guys. But every so often we'll get these, we'll get stupid comments back at us, and you can't cite those guys as what the public sentiment is. You can't go by that. But,
yeah, that's like saying like the village idiot speaks for everyone. Like.
Exactly. The village.
Like, people don't respond to you to be like, "Oh, that was a great tweet. I really agreed with everything you said." Like, people only respond to you if they're mad and they want to disagree, for the most part.
Exactly. So, no, I thought I want more honesty. That's what I want. I want more honesty. I miss Allen Iverson because he was extremely honest. He was.
Can I go on a minor tangent too? The Riley Curry thing. I write about the Lakers, so I didn't really get to say anything about it. But like, if you can't get a good column out of him bringing his daughter up there anyway, like you need his quotes on like what specific set they ran that helped free him up, or whatever generic platitudes he was gonna spout. Like, if you can't get a good column out of his daughter going up there and having like the time of her life, like, you're just a bad writer. I'm sorry. Like.
Yeah, we're looking at you fat ass Brian Windhorse. But now it's so much bitterness when people were saying that. I'm the old guy, and they made me look extremely young, talking about get off my lawn with that stuff. I like Riley Curry. That was fun. And she told that guy to hold his gum.
Like, hold my gum. I gotta go run into this curtain over here.
Exactly. That was great. More Riley Curry. More fun in sports. It's crazy that we have to ask for that. More fun in sports.
Sports aren't supposed to be fun, though, I don't think.
Exactly. So
it's just like, it's gonna get really creepy when it gets taken to its next logical conclusion, and Byron forces the rookies to bring their baby dolls up on stage with them for their press conferences.
Yeah. No, I want one of them to have a baby Byron Scott doll. That'd be awesome. So, all right, the next little tidbit of news was today. Ethan Skolnick of Bleacher Report, or last night he tweeted that yesterday that Wade's unhappy with his contract and that LA is a viable option. Please, Lakers, please no, just don't do it. He's unhappy with $16 million, and you're gonna pay him more than that. Just don't do it. Ryan, what was your takeaway from that?
I mean, I wouldn't mind it happening. But I honestly don't see. I mean, Wade to the Heat is like pretty similar to Kobe to the Lakers, and just for both, the Heat would look bad for letting their face of their franchise go, and then Wade would also look bad for leaving. So to me, there would be no winner in that, unless, I mean, if Wade just cares about winning, maybe. But I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see him leaving.
Harrison, do you think Kobe would play the 3 if Wade showed up to play the 2?
Oh yeah, I think he'd love to have Wade on his team. But do I think it's a good idea? No, I don't think that the Lakers have found the next great market inefficiency with paying $20 million for aging Hall of Famers. But if they were to sign him, I'm with Ryan. I wouldn't hate it, because it would be kind of awesome to have Wade on the team, even if he was a little overpaid. But I don't think it's probably the best idea, and I don't think it's likely to happen at all. I think he's going to stay in Miami, but I wouldn't hate it. Yeah.
Yeah, Levitard is probably my favorite voice in all of sports media, so I listen to pretty much every single one of his simulcasts and all of his radio shows and stuff. Um, so that perspective has been kind of fun to see that entire show freak the hell out. Watch, thinking about Wade potentially leaving, but no, there's no chance. Ryan, you're actually out there in Florida right now. Have you?
I talked to Wade earlier today. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Any inside sources aside from Dwayne Wade saying that? Yeah, I mean, I'd like to wear number 3 for the Lakers.
Well, I was at the beach. This guy, he must have been really plugged in. He said that they're negotiating over a few million, but yeah, he's willing. I mean, the contracts are like Mitch has already written up that contract for Wade. He might sign for the veteran minimum. That guy was. I mean, he obviously knew what he was talking about.
Breaking news! Breaking news for those 3 of you watching right now. We actually have 3 viewers. Breaking news for those of you watching. Dwayne Wade to the Lakers at a veteran's minimum because of some bum, some hobo, some del of a hobo that Ryan spoke to on the beach today. That's awesome. Good work, Ryan.
No, and like they always say, like you always trust strangers. That's like when you're a kid, that's like the number one thing they tell you. Always trust strangers. If a stranger has candy or says they have candy, they probably do. So
that's how Harrison provided some cockamamie story earlier, but the spider poison was some weird, lollipop that a stranger gave him, right?
Okay, like he wanted me to get in his van, and I didn't want to do it if I didn't have the lollipop first, and then I started like coughing, so it was a bad idea.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So on Stranger Danger, we move to questions from essentially complete strangers. We have
That was actually not a bad segue.
to at Da Heiser. He asked us. Actually, this is one of the better questions we've ever gotten. This is actually an interesting conversation we could have. He asked all of us for our ideal 8-man rotation for the Lakers next season. Harrison, why don't you start us off?
I'm the number one option.
Well, you went first last time, Ryan.
No, he did.
No, he didn't.
You went first on Wade.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a good source, so I have to go first.
Okay, since our resident prima donna out there in Palm Beach, Florida, wants to go first, Ryan, what do you got?
Okay, Clarkson, starting lineup, Clarkson, Kobe, Chris Middleton at the small forward, Randall at power forward, Karl Towns, or Okafor at center. I'd prefer Towns. And then the 3 subs, Tarek Black, Justin Anderson, and then I have Rondo, but the condition, I like Rondo. I used to like him. I don't like him anymore, but the condition I have is that he has to come off the bench. If he starts, I don't want him. If he wants more than I wouldn't even give him a 2-year deal. If he wants a 1-year deal for like a couple million, fine. I'll take him for that. But and he has to come off the bench behind Clarkson. Other than that, I wouldn't want him. And if I had to pick someone else other than him, oh man, this free agent class is horrible for point guards.
Udrich, anybody?
C.J. Watson. There you go.
All right,
Nice stopgap option.
All right, what do you got, Harrison? Who are you looking at for your 8-man rotation?
Okay, so mine is kind of similar, but it was put together more with the idea of saving as much cap space as possible for 2016, because I think that that's really when the Lakers should try and make their big moves towards competitiveness, especially with the number 2 pick locked up. Like, Julius Randle's coming back. He's basically a rookie. This guy will be a rookie. Let them, have a year of development with, no pressure, on not that competitive of a team, and keep the sheet clean and make some real moves. So that was kind of my philosophy behind it. And so I got, at center, I got Jakarl Towns. At the 4, I got Julius Randle. At the 3, I put Nick Young, and I think, my preference would be for him to actually play with Kobe, because I think that means that he won't have the ball as much, which is, he's better. That he'd be playing with Kobe and Clarkson, and some people... Byron Scott are like, oh, Nick Young needs the ball in his hands to be effective, and that's the opposite is true. He's so much better as a spot up shooter and moving off the ball. So this would be the worst defensive starting 5 in the NBA. But I'll put Nick Young at the 3, Kobe at the 2, Clarkson at the 1. So yeah, they'll probably give up 120 points a game,
and
but
not, and
like
not
they might be able to score somewhat.
and not throw a single pass.
Yeah.
Randall's not a selfish player, but he's best with the ball. Kobe, we obviously know, loves having the ball. Young
Yeah, but all those
Chucks.
guys are like they're willing passers, I think, when like when they
They're
get
stretching
doubled.
it a little with Nick Young, but
Yeah.
Kobe, yeah,
Okay.
like Kobe can be at
Yeah, but I
times.
just said that I'd want Nick Young mostly just like shooting, like when he gets not making a whole lot of decisions. But we're picking nits a little bit. And then so off the bench, my top three guys, like I'd like to give Jabari Brown a shot, but that spot could obviously go to whoever the Lakers draft. I'm not as up on those like lower rung prospects, so I didn't want to like try and throw some guy's name out there just to sound smart. But I think Jabari Brown deserves a shot to be in the rotation. Same with Tariq Black. I think that he showed this year he's like basically a little bit better Sacre, and like just give him another year, see what he could turn into. And then for my eighth man, I want to have like like a veteran point guard that can kind of like work with Clarkson, not start over him, Byron, but like someone good to have around him and that's like been in the league and can like help his growth. And so I thought like I looked, maybe the Lakers bring Steve Blake back. I really liked him while he was here. And he may opt out in Portland, or like even Jeremy Lin on like a 1-year prove it deal.
I think I'm gonna have to log off right now.
Or if the Lakers like draft a point guard or something.
Anyone but Lynn.
Yeah, I completely ignored what or whom the Lakers might select with that. It's 27 and 34, right? That's where they're picking from?
Yeah.
So I ignored those two picks because it's hard for me to call rookies that deep in the draft rotation players. So with my 8-man rotation, I said Clarkson. I think he earned the starting spot next season. Now, obviously, if they bring in, let's say for whatever reason, let's say they draft D'Angelo Russell, he'll have to re-earn that spot because Russell is so damn talented. But right now I have Clarkson, Kobe, KJ McDaniel. I really think Kevin Love's going to be a Laker next year. I really do. There was a report today that he's going to look at the Lakers. Like, if we're already hearing as he's heading into the finals that he's going to look at the Lakers, he's going to potentially opt out next season, that tells me that the ball is already kind of rolling in that direction. So I think Clarkson, Kobe, McDaniel, Love. What did you call Jakarl Okatowns? Is that what you called him?
Yeah.
Jakarl Okatowns there at the 5. I prefer Okafor actually over Towns. Randall coming off the bench as like a Lamar Odom kind of type player because Odom's one of my favorite Lakers of all time, especially in that role. Young, reprising his role of scorer off the bench. And then Tariq Black as the big, and then Ronnie Price as the guard off the bench to kind of. I know that's 9 people. I'm an English major. I suck at math, but you know what? Ronnie Price played really hard last year, and I liked what he had to say after the season ended. That when he was young, he had a bunch of players kind of pass off little cheats and things that helped them be successful in their time in the league, and he's willing to do that or did do that over the time length that he was with Jordan Clarkson. So why not do that some more, Ronnie? Just Ronnie or Byron. Byron, I'm looking at you right now. I'm actually looking into the camera. If you even think about starting Ronnie Price over Jordan Clarkson, if you think about it, Tibbs is out there. I'll have his Italian mafia friends come and break your legs. That got dark. That got really dark.
You've went dark a couple times tonight.
That got really dark. But yeah, and then Ryan Kelly and Sacre to round it out because they have to be here next year.
If there's any way we could add Steve Novak to the team, that would be that'd be like a dream come true. Number 2 pick, Steve Novak, Kobe on the same team. And Ryan Kelly, he's one of my favorite players for similar reasons.
Title for sure. And actually, we have a few minutes left here. We have about 5 minutes left before we got to call it quits here. But at Matthias Mayohas asked, "Do you think the Lakers should try to get a pick from the Celtics by taking Gerald Wallace's contract from them?"
No, no, no,
Even
How
no.
if
many
they
years does he have left? Is it 2?
I think this year. No, I think it's just next. I'm not sure.
let's see, hold on.
But
Gerald.
the thing is, like, the Lakers don't have enough cap space to take him on and then sign basically any impact. Maybe I think because he makes what, like 15 million or something.
Does he make that much? No
Yeah,
way.
it's like 14 million or something.
Oh.
Or it's somewhere in double digits.
I'm looking right now. He has 1 year left, and he's making 10 million.
10.
I'd do it.
Okay. I mean, that would leave like 20 or like 12 million cap space, which isn't enough to sign a 25% max player like Middleton or Tobias Harris. Which pick though? I mean, what they have 16 and 28, maybe 16. I wouldn't do it for 28.
Yeah, no, it would have to be 16.
Yeah, and I don't think there's other teams they could, like the Sixers would do that in a second. So it's
Yeah.
like, and I think they'd rather trade with the Six. Well, maybe not actually, because the Sixers are in their division. But I don't know. I wouldn't do that trade.
Let's say the Celtics came to you, Ryan, and said, "We'll offer you Gerald Wallace, the number 16 pick for Swaggy P, and your number 34 pick." Would you do it?
No. No. I don't. I don't want Wallace's contract. And like I
For the
said,
16 pick?
Yeah. I mean, you
I'd
could.
consider that.
I mean, at least if you get the 16th pick, you could try to trade up, and you could almost get into the lottery. I mean, you probably could get into the lower lottery, but
I might do that actually.
I'd consider that. I think I'd probably do that.
I think
Yeah. Especially if they called him Swaggy P. Like at that point, you're having a casual conversation. You might be able to talk him down.
I don't know. Like, I don't know why I'm still a fan of Nick Young. Like, I don't like he's really annoying, but like I just think because his contract goes this year, next year, and then a player option, which he'll probably pick up. So that's like 2 years. He'll have that contract 2 years into the new cap, or at least one. And like to me, $5 million for a guy that can shoot 40% from three, that's like pretty valuable. I mean, granted, he doesn't do much else, but it's just having a shooter like that for $5 million and what will be like a $90 million cap that's worth something.
Who'd be there?
I'm there with you on Young, but for the same reasons of like affordability and like talent and like length into the new CBA. Like I think for those same reasons, it would be worth like grabbing that number 16 pick.
Yeah, I could see that. But I just think you'd have to be. I mean, this draft, like I said, is a lot of people think it levels off around 22, and if there's someone they really like at 16, like I don't know, like Sam Decker would probably be there. Maybe like Devin Booker falls there, then I would consider it, but I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Celtics would give up basically a lower lot, like the 16th pick, just to get rid of Gerald Wallace.
Yeah, I don't think they'd do that trade.
So
unless they had like 2 max free agents or something. I don't know how much cap space they have this off season. But like unless they needed the space to sign somebody like alongside Kevin Love or whatever.
Well, and the problem too is the draft is before free agency, so unless they get somehow a commitment from one of those guys before the draft, which is even then that's still not.
Yeah, Carlos Boozer, who's going to be a former Laker, will be the first to tell you that he'll screw over any team. So, but yeah, no, thank you. I can't pronounce your name, Matthias, for the question. Thank you, D.A. Heiser, for the question. Thank you, Harrison and Ryan, for tuning in. Ryan, we're heading on almost what?
It's almost 1. I have another meeting with that source later. I'll get some more info.
All right, good stuff. Ryan, pounding the pavement for Lakers Outsiders. Harrison, thank you for tuning in despite your still being kind of sort of high from the spider poison. No, that was fun. We'll get back together. Ryan just had he already talked about it on the show. He had his article. I had my article. check out Gary Kester's mock draft for Lakers Outsiders, and everything that Harrison puts together for Silver Screen and Roll. Ryan for what's Desert Storm? Is that
AZ Desert Swarm for it's the Arizona Wildcat SB Nation blog. Had a lot of stuff recently.
So you got Ryan on that, and then I'm doing LakersLive.com. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Thank you.
See ya.